Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's series of podcast where we are trying to get to know your optional better. In today's session, we have with us Rizwan sir, someone who comes with 25 years of experience from geography optional and also general studies. So thank you so much for joining us today. We are really looking forward to the session.
Thank you.
The whole intent of this session would be to understand better geography optional, especially from the lens of a person who is looking to what side of optional they should move, and also definitely who have already chosen geography optional to understand their needs better and answer them. So, sir, when we are talking about optional and a fresher is deciding the optional marks are very important, they know that, but they somewhat lack in understanding the right optional. So, are there certain parameters that aspirants should keep in mind when they're deciding the optional so as to make the right choice and accordingly it delivers for them as well?
Yeah, obviously. See, there is something like a midnight test, what I will say, for selection of an optional.
Okay.
When aspirant is not doing anything and at 11 p.m., if he is thinking of reading something, then his thought should be directed towards a subject of interest. मतलब ये है कि 11 बजे रात में जब उसको लग रहा है कि he is not today, he is feeling stressed, he is feeling depressed. In that scenario, he is still interested in reading one subject,
Correct.
and that should be his or her optional subject. So at 11 p.m. when nobody is watching and in a self-discipline mode, he should be able to be curious about reading one subject, and that curiosity should be obviously in the optional subject. तो ऐसा है कि वो 11 बजे भी जब सब कुछ एग्जॉस्ट हो चुका है वो फिर भी इंटरेस्टेड है इन रीडिंग. That I think that will be where the optional matters.
Right. Sir, if a fresher is deciding on the basis of this test or in general, and he's leaning towards geography, what are the reasons that particular aspirant should pick geography, opt geography, and go on from there?
See, for geography, according to my experience, there are two things. One, how a student is compatible with the subject,
Right.
and how the subject is compatible with the student. So it is like a bidirectional relation between student and geography as an optional. So the first thing is you should understand that geography is a scientific subject. It requires a scientific temper, logical thinking. So if you are that kind of person, if you are having that kind of mindset that you think logically, then geography is for you.
Okay.
Who should not take geography as an optional? Who think that geography is about rote mugging up or ratifying the information? Geography will not pay them anything. Second is who think that I cannot draw the diagrams or I cannot draw the map, then you should not go for geography. And if you are having your graduation in some of the other humanities, like you have already done BA or you have done your masters in sociology, public administration, it is obviously better to choose the optional which are earlier companion, and you should refine them and continue. If you are thinking, if you are from a science background, if you are from any other background, and then you are thinking for opting as a geography, one test is that look that you are comfortable with diagrams and map.
Okay.
You are with the scientific thought process. You have a logical bend of mind. For everything, you are raising a question: why, how, where? Then geography is for you.
I was also about to ask that for whom geography is not meant, but you have already answered that. Sir, another thing that students assume about geography, that it is a very fine blend where a science-like optional is present and it has articulation of humanities. So is this true for geography optional?
Yes. See, geography is not like an island. It is like a peninsula
Right.
where the things are interconnected and overlapping with each other. So when you think on a scientific lines, you will be able to understand not only why the things are here, but also understand why they are here for a reason. So suppose you are thinking about Northeast India, and if the student is thinking in that way, that why there is less development in the northeastern part of India or any tribal region, then geography is an answer, right? So in that way, if you are, it is both, it has a blend, as you are saying, it is correct. इसमें blend है एक, paper 1 is more like a scientific subject. You have to read paper 1, particularly physical geography, like a scientist. When you read geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, you are like geomorphologist or climatologist or oceanographer. That requires a scientific temper. Then when it comes to section B, particularly human geography, then it becomes like you are slightly reading an abstract content, which gives you a flavor of when you are reading geographical thought, when you read models and theories, or you are reading about economic geography, population settlement, it gives you a flavor like it is a humanities subject. You are studying about migration pattern, you are studying about population settlement pattern. तो यहाँ पर आपको humanities का flavor मिलेगा. So, but whether it is physical geography or human geography, both are like approach as a scientist. So, paper 1 is where you are behaving like a scientist. In paper 2, you are behaving like a planner or policy maker. So, whatever you have learned in paper 1, you are applying in Indian scenario in paper 2. So, you have a dual role. दो तरह के रोल एक स्टूडेंट को प्ले करना है when he prepares for geography. Paper 1 is like a scientist, and paper 2 you are like a planner or policy maker.
Thank you so much, sir. It also gave us an insight into paper 1 and paper 2 at the same time. And another thing that has been going around and geography has been labeled with, that it is a safe and scoring optional. But parallelly, a lot of thought is around that the scores are declining. So when freshers are coming in, they just don't go by interest. They also start looking into the trending optional or not. So what would you like to tell us about the scoring trends?
Yes.
How true is that the scores are declining, or how true it's not?
See, score in optional is very important because it decides your final, we can say, selection, and whether your name will be in the list or not, or we will get an interview call or not. This will be decided by optional. Lekin one thing that a student has to remember is you have to go with the optional. Obviously, everyone tries to prepare for that in a way that he should get selected in one attempt, but generally 2-3 attempts, 2-3 attempts तो लग ही जाते हैं, and optional has to be his or her companion. So there should be a strong carry forward with the optional. You should be, so one thing is that optional has to be taken as a companion. Second, about what you have asked, scores. Definitely scores in geography has experienced a moderation, in the sense that if you see 2016 and before, the scores were going up to 330, 340. Then after 2015, we see that the highest score has come down to somewhere around 310 and 305. And now also we are seeing that the highest score is like 285 or 290. This where the students are, if you see the selections. But a student always looks at the ceiling. In optional, he has to look at the floor. What I call it as a floor test for an optional. इसमें ये होता है कि आप वो highest score को लेकर judge कर रहे हो optional को, लेकिन you are not looking at how it has fluctuated in the lower end. How much is the inconsistency of the score in the optional? That matters a lot, because how the student is thinking is he looks at the person who is selected in this exam, or who has qualified this exam and his optional score was 285 or his optional score was 300. But look at how many students have got 160 or 150 in the same optional. Those who are not selected, if you look at in other optional, this number is huge. But in geography, you will see that the ceiling is 285, 290. But if you see the lower boundary, जो lower score है, that is somewhere around 240 or 230. Most of the students are in this range. In the sense that if you are preparing in a way that we prescribe in generally in the classes, and what is the standard way of preparation, ऑप्शनल में आपको एक कंसिस्टेंट स्कोर ज्योग्राफी में हमेशा रहेगा. इट डजंट फ्लक्चुएट टू दैट एक्सटेंट. In the sense, I have seen the students in some other optional that one attempt they are getting like 290. The second attempt where the students have he has prepared well and he has improved, he has wrote the test, etc., etc. After doing additional efforts, next time his score has come down to like 200 or it has come down to 210. That will not happen in geography. The floor is very clear. Ceiling, it depends on where to take the upper score. That depends on the student and his effort. लेकिन जो lower part है, the floor test is very clear here. It is not going to decline much. So there is consistency in the lower end in geography. I hope students are understanding this. So, and if suppose you are getting 280 or 270 in geography optional, it pays you 80 to 100 marks in your GS and may pay you, if you are lucky, it may pay you another 120 or 100 marks in essay also. So that benefit you are getting there.
Right.
So here, instead of getting stressed by looking that the optional is not paying 300, you should always think that it will not pay less than 260 or 250. So ये comfortable way will be there to choose geography as an optional subject.
Right. So, as it is said, the safe part, they also need to understand that. And I am sure this flow test idea has given a lot of clarity to it. Sir, you briefly mentioned about GS, overlap, and if they are lucky, in essay also. Can we have a little elaboration on that? Because that is another factor freshers consider, that what is the kind of overlap based on subjects, and that's how they go for the decision.
See, overlap in geography, we can look in two dimensions. How it is overlapping in terms of syllabus, and how it is overlapping in terms of value addition to your preparation. So, in terms of syllabus, if you look, geography is there in GS paper 1 of mains and it is there in GS paper 3. So, most of the things what you study in geography optional section A paper 1, that is geomorphology, climatology, oceanography and bioenvironmental geography, in 5 chapter में से 50% of the syllabus is same as your GS. In the sense that if the student is preparing for optional, he did not put any additional effort for this part in GS. It is automatically done. Right. Second, in paper 2, that is Indian geography, again you can see that nearly 60% of your Indian geography is a part of your GS. So, you are preparing here physical geography of India, that covers your mapping. You are preparing agriculture, transportation, industry, population, political aspect, which is again a part of your IR, right? And contemporary issue, which takes care of your environment and related environmental degradation, disaster management. These are done in your paper 2. So, अगर आप दोनों पेपर ऑप्शनल के पढ़ते हैं तो you will be getting, as I said, it is around 100 marks, 100 to 120 and sometimes additional we can get. So that will be your overlap in terms of value. In terms of what you say syllabus.
Right.
But if you look at more at the greater depth, it is something like preparing for optional. This provide you synergy across several topics in your GS. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ आप geography में you just look at the superficial overlap. You can see that there is a deep interlinkages in the topic. तो जो ज्योग्राफी वाला बच्चा है, जो ज्योग्राफी ऑप्शनल का स्टूडेंट है, ही हैज अ बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ आईआर, he has a better understanding of geopolitics, he has better understanding of development disparities, he has better understanding of planning, he is able to appreciate the data that is published in economic survey, he is able to appreciate the policies that are related to agriculture, industry, infrastructure by the government of India. So in that way we can see a deep linkages of the syllabus in case of GS.
Right, sir. Sir, once you have discussed enough about what should be looked once the student is deciding, I would also like to move towards, let's just say a student has decided to go for geography optional. First of all, what is the journey he is in for? What is the starting point? And what are the things that he should keep in mind, like a strategy blueprint that he should keep in his mind when he's starting?
So when you have decided, first thing you have to decide that geography preparation is like development of a river or a drainage. It has to be like a perennial river which is consistently flowing. It is not necessary that the river should flood every time, है ना?
Right.
तो ऐसा नहीं कि आप sometimes you are preparing for 10 hours, then you are preparing for 2 hours, and then again you are preparing for not preparing for 1 week. This will not be the way a student has to prepare in geography as an optional. So first thing is he should be consistent and self-disciplined. Second, he should go step by step. There should be a systematic approach in geography. This is one of the most common mistake that is made by the aspirant. They treat the optional geography in a haphazard manner. They prepare it randomly. Randomly in the sense that you take a syllabus, open a YouTube and study today about oceanography. Next time you don't have a mood, then you are preparing for human geography. Then you jump to some other sources. Your friend has told you that no, this chapter is not much important, this chapter is important. Then you shift to another. This will be a random way of preparing. You have to build in a linkage, in the way the linkages are in the optional. So I'll recommend that first you should start with the basics. You have to, first step is you have to cover your NCRTs and GC Leong. After covering that, you should start with the standard books and prepare section A of paper 1. Means you are preparing geomorphology, climatology and oceanography. If you find geomorphology little bit difficult to develop interest, you can start with climatology, because generally students are very much comfortable because it is a part of your GS also. So start with climatology, then read geomorphology, then read oceanography and bioenvironmental geography, and then shift to paper 2. Do the same topics in paper 2, and then you can take the third part, that is human geography.
Right.
In this way you have to move, and you have to prepare with the help of standard books, and along with that you have to practice writing the answers.
Okay, sir. Sir, once you've mentioned that there should be avoiding of randomness in the preparation, do you think this is an option that can be tackled through self-study? And what is the role of test series, coaching?
Yeah. See, when a student is preparing in a self-studying mode, yes, he can do it, obviously, because every student will be, geography is a subject, when you read, you will be able to understand. So, self-study mode of geography is like you build the engine.
Right.
And coaching, mentorship and support is like you drive the engine in a particular direction. There is a difference. So, you are building an engine, and you are using that engine to drive in a particular direction. Our objective as an aspirant, when you are preparing, as a student I am saying, is to score and clear the exam.
Correct.
So accumulation of knowledge that can be done with the help of self-study, because it is in geography you have plenty of resources available in the market. There is no deficiency of resource. There is also like how to prepare, and in that way there are things, tips and available in open resources. So you can collect that and you can read. But whether it will get formalized and whether it is going to give you output in the form of marks, that will be decided only when you are writing answers, you are getting it evaluated, right? You are using a diagram, right? So these are the things that will be there in coaching. So what I mean to say, आप सेल्फ स्टडी कर रहे हो, ये ठीक है, ये आपको नॉलेजेबल बनाएगा ज्योग्राफी में, लेकिन whether that knowledge will really get encashed in the form of marks or not, now it depends on whether you are having this kind of support system.
Okay, sir. Sir, you have mentioned this twice once we were talking about answer writing, that how important it is. And over 25 years, you must have come across almost lakhs of copies. So, do you think there is a pattern that you see in toppers' copies?
Yes.
And what are those things that students should know from here on that they need to do?
Yeah. तो यहाँ पर अगर देखा जाए, earlier also we have discussed why the scores in geography has undergone moderation. तो इसमें इशू ये हो रहा है कि the number of students who generally take geography as an optional subject every year in mains are significant. This number is high. This is one of the popular optional. And suppose I am evaluating, suppose 2000 answer scripts, and there is one question related to Davissian model of landscape development. What I do is I find the same type of answer written in nearly out of 2000, 1900 answer sheets will have the same type of content. So as an examiner, what I do is I average the score in my mind and I keep on giving out of 15 marks like 6 marks, out of 15, 7 marks. My pen will not move beyond 10 marker unless there is an exceptional writing of the answer. So most of the students, they have become more bookish, and this is there for the students who are repeaters or who are experienced students also. उनके लिए भी ये बहुत important है that don't try to become like an encyclopedia, don't try to have a bookish approach, don't write the same thing. You have to innovate in your answer. That is where the answer writing comes into picture, where you have to write the content, you have to draw the diagrams, and you have to make the things more and more interlinked. Right. So इसलिए you need to practice it. See, there is one student, suppose if I see, he has drawn a beautiful diagram with color pencil, he has traced everything, and his content is just superficial. So looking at colorful diagram, I will not be able to give the marks. Content is a soul of answer. Diagram is something like which is representing that soul. It is an expression of the soul. If you don't have a soul, it is like a dead body. So your content and diagram has to be balanced. Diagram is supporting thing. So another case study is where the student have drawn, where he has not used any color pencil or something like that. He has drawn a proper diagram. He has labeled it. He has given a clarity, and he has written 150 words which are very systematic, very logical. He has underlined the key points, keywords, where I am able to get all the highlighted things in that answer. So here my tendency will be to give around out of 15 marks like 10 mark or 11 marks also. तो पहले केस में ये हुआ है कि the student has overemphasized on diagram, but his soul is weak. Sometimes the students are like they write more content, they dump the content without looking at क्या इसमें कोई connectedness है. They just keep on writing whatever they remember, and they don't emphasize on the diagram, right? So soul is there, but the body is missing. That also will be incorrect. So you have to balance between this, and that obviously comes by practice.
Right. So the next thing I was about to ask was about maps and diagrams only, that there is a lot of emphasis and connect with geography optional whenever anybody talks about it. The first thing is maps and diagrams will do it for you. There is an extreme overemphasis on it. You have clarified that. But when we are talking about practice in developing this art, maintaining the balance between body and soul so as to ensure that we get the best marks. Uh, what are the suggestions that you would want to give? Practice, yes, they have to, but what are the things that they can start with and gradually work upon so as to ensure that they're practicing and at the same time they're getting gains out of it?
See, we'll divide it in this way. First is the conceptual part of the subject.
Okay.
And second is map and data. So most of the students think that ratifying map, it is like a rote learning and remembering the fact, making mnemonics. This will help in geography. No, this is not the way. First, you have to build your concept. You have to get a conceptual clarity in the subject. And you have to keep a crown of map and data over that. So your pyramid is very clear. The basement of the pyramid is the conceptual clarity of the subject. So suppose you are reading about, let us say, climatology. In climatology, if you look at, so you are reading about, it is a Köppen's classification. So when you read about Köppen's classification and symbolic representation of the climate, you have to understand that why these letters are in this way only and what is the actual meaning of this letter on the map. So if I say it is a AF type of climate, तो आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि AF इस तरह से क्यों है. So there are temperature conditions, there are rainfall conditions, there are vegetation conditions. So if you are building the concept, obviously when you look at the world map, it will be very easy for you to draw it on the map. So your conceptual clarity is very important in your preparation. Map comes later, diagram come later. Right? This should be like a jewel, this should be like a crown. तो पहले क्राउन के लिए हेड तो होना चाहिए, है ना? तो वो that is where we are focusing.
Right, sir. Sir, across we have discussed the blueprint, we have talked about maps, answer writing, but a lot of students consistently face challenges across any optional. But are there any specific challenges that you have understood that they should know that this is going to come, and how will be they able to address it?
See, major issue with the students who prepare for not only geography, all the popular optional, and major challenge is that nowadays there is over availability of the resources, whether it is online or offline. So students are getting confused what really to look for or what really to read for. So they keep on jumping from one resource to other. This you should not do. You have to stick to limited number of resources, some standard books, and if you are taking classes, then you have to stick to your class notes. One issue is this. Second, as I told you earlier, they are not having a systematic approach towards the syllabus. They are not able to sequence in what direction you have to explore the syllabus. Third is you are not prioritizing on the syllabus. So they think that 100%, I will read 100%. Instead of reading, suppose I say it is geomorphology. In geomorphology, there are some 30 topics. Instead of reading 30 topics in a shallower way, read 25 topics with a greater depth. Understand what is more important. So I keep on giving this example in class also. तो जैसे students read geomorphology and they are interested in continental drift theory. So if you read Continental Drift by Alfred Wegener, Pangea, Supercontinent, a student is really fascinated by the theory and should be. As a geographer, you should be, because in that time, 1900, when Wegener he gave his theory, he talked about and that paved the way for plate tectonics. ये तो होगा subject की बात. लेकिन you have to look at how much is the utility of continental drift in optional. तो अगर अब कॉन्टिनेंटल ड्रिफ्ट ऐसा टॉपिक है जो एनसीईआरटी में भी मिलता है, स्टैंडर्ड बुक, हर स्टैंडर्ड बुक में रहेगा. इफ द स्टूडेंट कीप ऑन रीडिंग दिस फ्रॉम ऑल द बुक्स, ऑल द रिसोर्सेस, ही विल हैव ह्यूज वॉल्यूम ऑफ कंटेंट अवेलेबल. लेकिन जब हम इसको प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन पेपर में देखते हैं, इट्स यूटिलिटी इज नॉट मोर देन 10 marks. So if I am spending 4-5 days on exploring continental drift, I am becoming knowledgeable. I am becoming empowered as a student. But उसका अगर एग्जाम में देखेंगे वो तो आ ही रहा है 10 मार्क के लिए, तो उतना तो आप अगर 2-3 घंटे भी पढ़ लेते या क्लास अटेंड कर ले तब भी आप वो लिख पाते. The issue is the topic like erosion surface in geomorphology, where it is not taught and the students they generally develop a phobia. अब इसको कैसे पढ़ा जाए, लेकिन वहां से 20 मार्क का क्वेश्चन आ रहा है, तो वहां स्टूडेंट, so that is what I am saying. Instead of reading all the topics to a shallower depth, you should be able to prioritize what is really important for exam and dive deeper into that area. So that is one. Second is next issue what the student face as a challenge is, I will not start writing answer like a perfectionist approach unless I get everything, every information. तो they develop phobia कि ये आंसर राइट होगा या नहीं होगा, या सर इसको कितने मार्क्स देंगे. No, whatever it is, whatever your situation is, whatever your scenario, once you have read the topic, start writing. See, my experience about all the previous year students who qualified also, they started with very raw answer. You should begin. Write one paragraph, whatever you have understood, write it. Slowly that's what I told. Preparing geography is like a development of a river. It is not developing in one day. It is a consistent. It keeps on doing its work, and over a period, you can say 1 million year, you can see the outcome of that full-fledged catchment area of the river has come into existence. लेकिन जो आपको दिख रहा है catchment area, this is the work of the river which has been consistently doing for millions of years. Right.
So the first thing that you talked about, that students need to be consistent with the sources they are referring to. So are the sources different for beginner and a person who has advanced into the preparation? And is there a minimum effective book list or source list that you would want to tell the aspirants?
Yeah, there are in paper 1, there are some 4-5 books that are obviously required. So if you are a beginner, start with NCERT, complete 11th and 12th class NCERT, then read GC Leong, that is certificate in physical and human geography. और उसके बाद 2-3 बुक्स है पेपर 1 में जो बिल्कुल आप पढ़ेंगे, एंड देन ऑब्वियसली यू आर टेकिंग अ सपोर्ट ऑफ अ क्लास नोट, लाइक फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी बाय सविंदर सिंह यू आर रीडिंग, देन यू आर रीडिंग ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी बाय माजिद हुसैन सर, ज्योग्राफिकल थॉट बाय माजिद हुसैन सर, and then you are reading volume 1 and 2 of Made Simple series, that is of Rupa publication. These are must reading for paper 1. In paper 2 you are reading this Indian geography by Dr. D.R. Khuller. This will be one source which will give you all the basic understanding of entire syllabus. Plus you have to refer some more open-ended in the sense that there should be integration of the current affairs in paper 2. So this much are the minimum resources that you have to follow.
Okay, sir. We will be moving towards the rapid fire round just to move towards the end. Very direct questions, simple answers to it. One myth about geography that you have heard very often
is about ratifying maps or mugging up information. This is a myth.
The highest scoring area in geography optional?
I feel it is climatology. So because number of questions are more and the students are able to write because they are obviously having a good foundation in GS also.
Most common mistakes that aspirants make?
Is not practicing answers.
Okay. One advice that you would like to give to the freshers who are?
Freshers don't have a phobia. Geography is your companion if you are going or approaching it with the right mindset.
And one message for the repeaters or who are in the preparation in advanced level?
Repeaters should not look for expanding volume of the content. They should not think of reading more books, but they should think of improving the quality of whatever they have prepared. They should more focus on improving their answers, getting the feedback, evaluation. That should be their approach. Don't try to add more things to your preparation.
Okay, sir, that was all, but it was a very insightful session. Thank you so much for all the advice and information.
Thank you.